Every now and then there's a new watch brand that appears on the radar and you ask yourself, how have I missed this one? When I was contacted by the lovely guy behind Alcadus watches, I thought exactly that. We organised a loan, and seeing the Dromo for the first time in person, I thought to myself, how is it that not everyone is talking about this stunning creation? Perhaps it may appear plain on pictures, but in some natural lighting and the right settings, it absolutely comes alive. This is another founder that started out as a Seiko modder, but was left wanting more and eventually in 2017 started his own brand, Alcadus. In 2019, a Kickstarter campaign went ahead for the incredibly well-spec'd Opus 39, which I've reviewed on my website, check out the link above, which is unfortunately not successful. Despite that, the man behind Alcadus forged ahead and made the Opus 39 a reality anyway, and in some fun colour combinations for good measure. He's now back with the Opus 2, but more importantly for us today, the stunning Alcadus Dromo, which I am quietly in love with, in no small part thanks to this stunning dial. It's not perfect, and I'll touch on why today, but you absolutely owe it to yourself to consider backing this. I know I'm really very enthusiastic about the Dromo. I don't have shares in the company for your information, I've just become a huge fan through handling these pieces. So let's take a closer look and you can make your own mind up. The Dromo draws inspiration from the skin divers of the 1950s, and it's designed to be a slim and compact dive watch, following all the design language from the original Opus. Before you dismiss certain elements of this watch as we go through this review, I want to make it clear from the outset that production watches will have some big improvements from this prototype, including drilled lugs, a slightly less protruding crystal with less distortion, a higher quality bracelet and clasp, and probably the only one that matters to me, a bezel that you can actually grip and manipulate without power tools. Let's chat dial first. Its official description is salmon sunray. To me, it's much closer to copper than salmon, which makes me like it way more. I'm not a huge fan of pinkish dials, but this is right up my alley. I had a design teacher once that gave me some advice when I was struggling to come up with a good color combination for a brief. She said, look at nature. It has all the best combos and there's no copyright to worry about. Looking at the combinations here, it's like it's emerged from nature itself with its red, green and steel with a blue arrow on the bezel. The dial catches the light and changes depending on where you are and what time of day it is. This is a watch that will get noticed on your wrist. The discrete applied indices are small but large enough to not impede legibility. And the Flieger-inspired arrow at the 12 is a small detail that adds interest and is also replicated in the seconds hand. We have an exemplary approach to dial print, with only the logo, model name and water resistance on the dial. The prototype here is rated to 300 meters, but the final version will have an adequate 200 meters. There is also tons of Loom here, which I will cover a bit later, but I promise you it's worth hanging around for. Covering this lovely dial is a boxed sapphire crystal that is one of my favorite aspects with its beautiful distortion. It's a shame that it will be slightly small on the final version, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of reasons to angle your wrist for that perfect bit of magnification of an indice or two. The 5 layers of AR coating helps with the legibility outside and you won't have any issues telling the time. The stainless and loomed steel insert is discreet with the classic diver markers and unidirectional bezel. Here lies a big issue with the prototype. It's almost impossible to grip and move. This has to be, and also will be as I mentioned, improved. Again, it's very attractive, but this is that time where form failed to function. The black and blue models will have sapphire bezels if you're not sold on this stainless steel one. The cupcake style crown has some fun surprises in stock. It's loomed as well, which we'll check out shortly, but it has also borrowed a feature from far more exclusive brands. When fully unscrewed, there's a red line indicating just that. Practical, useful, and a detail that could save you an early trip to your friendly watchmaker. When manipulating this crown, you're setting a Japanese Miyota 9039 in motion with your fingertips. Always a smooth operator, this movement. It's buttery, soft, and reliable. It can get a bit noisy and wobbly on your wrist, but I like the feel of an automatic movement on my wrist, so it's fine with me. If you do not, then be warned. In brackets in my script here, I'm to call such people monsters, but I'll leave this out. Whoops, I read it out. The case is a classic skin diver with downturned lugs that hug your wrist and ensures that the thickness of 11.5mm, not including the crystal, disappears. The attractive profile of this case, with its long lugs, is easy to integrate with a proper bracelet, and we luckily have one of those. This bracelet reminds me of one of the best, the Alcadus Fairwind, which was my first review ever on my channel. It's perhaps not quite as refined as that best-in-class one, but it's not far off with its individual links and screw links that are easy to adjust yourself. Much like the Fairwind, the bracelet catches your eye all day long. Again, on the final version we'll have drilled lugs, so you will be able to easily slap on a leather or tropical strap, should you want to not reflect the sun so much as you make your way down your local street. The buckle and clasp on the prototype are both pressed, but with plenty of micro adjusts. I won't talk about them much since they will be replaced anyway, but I have enjoyed having a small and compact clasp on my wrist. We don't always need massive inconvenient fastening mechanisms where our hands rest on the desk. It's a lesson I've learned. On the back of the watch is a printed ship. Bit strange, but I read my asterisks and I know that this depiction is an actual Dromo, which was a Roman warship. Does that have anything to do with this watch or the founder's background? I doubt it, and I could do without this detail, but any reminders about Asterisk comics is always welcome. Finally, the Loom. It's so good. We've got Swiss Superluminova on the dial, hands and crown, and boy do they look excellent. Not only in the dark, but daylight as well against that copper dial. Well done here, such a perfect amount, and it does remind me of a deep sea jellyfish on my wrist, without the slime. Okay, I know I've gushed about my love for the Dromo, but seriously, it's so attractive and comfortable to wear, and it will start at $320 at the Kickstarter campaign, which is ridiculous value for such a lovely piece. All the color combinations are available on the website, which I will leave a link to in the description, and I would even consider rocking the yellow one. One of, if not the most favorite type of watch to me, is the Skin Diver. And this could be another success like Alcadus that made a name for themselves off that category. Both the Alcadus Opus and Dromo are designed well, are delivered with 2 years of warranty, extra straps, sapphire crystals, and good quality movements. The list goes on, and at a price that's not only attractive to us watch fans, but could easily be categorized as attainable to anyone. Again, it certainly doesn't hurt to have a genuinely nice person behind the brand. Send them a message if you don't believe me, since if you're going to support anyone with your hard-earned brand, it's nice to do so not just because you like a product, but the team as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.